Welcome to Colorful Journeys of Success. Claire Mullen, producer, host, and author of Color Wheeling for Success, explores with her guests the stages of success in their lives. This show highlights leaders, teachers, coaches, mentors, and even parents who are role models who help change our world. How have you succeeded, and who was your teacher and inspiration? Now, who are the people you teach and inspire? Listen to and watch our fascinating guests as they share colorful stories of success and how they help inspire. Now, here's Claire, the color wheeling lady and our host.
Welcome to Colorful Journey of Success. I'm Claire Mullen, your host and your producer. Thank you so much for joining, because we have, it's going to be my wonderful opportunity to introduce to you a published author who wrote a very interesting book, Chopsticks, Healing My Heart in the Heart of China. She has wonderful stories, and today, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Joanne?
Yes.
Joanne, I love the name of your book, Chopsticks. That's wonderful. It certainly is, catchy,
yes.
for sure.
Well, it typifies China, that's for sure, and that's what this is about, my experience there.
Well, let's talk about your experience, because in your book you have several experiences, right?
Oh, many
Yes.
experiences.
Now, it all kind of like but not in China. Where did it start?
Well, it originated in Michigan, in a very small town in the Thumb area of Michigan. And I went through a very difficult time. After 27 years of marriage, my marriage ended. And this was traumatic for me. So
Yes.
I needed a change, or was forced into a change, either one. So
I think experiences, traumas, traumatic experiences, they always kind of like force people into changes. You have to open new doors.
absolutely.
So you started opening new doors, didn't you?
Yes. It wasn't originally set for China, but it evolved into actually going there.
That's what's so fascinating.
It is. It is an unbelievable story. I was, like I said, I was living in Michigan, and my daughter was out here in California, and with nowhere to go, she said, "Mom, come out here." So I began looking for work in Los Gatos, where she was living. I found an ad on Craigslist, of all places.
Good old Craigslist.
Good old Craigslist. And that ad simply stated, "Teach English in China."
Teach English in China.
Yes.
And you said,
I said, I can do that.
yes?
I can do that. And really, Claire, the reason that I went that far is because I was so desperate to get out of where I was. My heart was broken, and that's why the book is also has that little subtitle about healing my heart in the heart of
Right,
China, because
right.
it was totally shattered and totally broken.
What was fascinating to me, though, when you said you vacillated.
Oh, beyond belief.
Yes.
Because honestly, who wants to go to China? I was a homemaker, lived in a beautiful lake house in Michigan, and just out of desperation, it came to the point where I have to get out of here. I have to go away, go far, far away. And this came up. But then when the reality would set in, it's like, no, I don't really want to go to China. I don't think so. I don't know anyone there. I've never lived there. I don't know anything about, the culture. And, we're talking Michigan. We're not talking about California, where it's very multicultural.
Right.
Rural Michigan was not multicultural. So there was this constant battle of, should I go? Should I not go? No, I don't want to go. Yes, I got to get out of here. This is.
What are the risks? Fear?
Oh, tremendous fear.
Yes.
Because I had no idea. I did not have any idea of where I would be going. I mean, it said, university, but anybody could build a website, right? And say it's a university. I had no clue. I knew no one that went there. I did not know one word.
And you went all by yourself.
And I went alone with 2 suitcases.
Oh,
and 2 carry-ons at that time.
You know how much courage it would take to do that? Joanne, I'm just absolutely amazed. I look at you in awe.
Well, when I think about it, well, you can imagine what my kids thought when I called them and said, Jay, I got a job. And my son, this is my youngest son, he was driving somewhere in Michigan, and I could hear him on his cell phone, and he goes, what? And I said, yeah, in China. And there was just like death silence.
Yeah.
And he goes, China? And I said, yeah, that one.
Not Chinese food.
No.
China.
His response was, Mom, that's so random. So,
Yeah.
you know.
But you did it.
Yes, I did.
But you did it.
Yes.
You did it. So I can imagine, describe and share with us, what was the trip like?
Well, it was frightening because, again, I was going alone. My daughter dropped me off in San Francisco airport. It was, I don't know, 16-hour flight over there. The whole time I'm sitting in my seat thinking, I don't want to go to China. Why am I doing this? What did I do to deserve this? You know, and then we land, and I didn't even know where to go. And then I saw someone with a sign that said CIAS International University. So I just walked over there, and one by one, other people started walking over there. And I go, my God, all these people on this flight were going to the same place. I had no idea.
Amazing.
So, yes. So then they flew us to Zhengzhou, which is central China. So this was not Beijing or Shanghai, which is very multicultural, very American friendly. We were going to Zhengzhou, south of Zhengzhou, in a village town.
In a village town?
In a village town.
Oh my.
So yes, they were as unaccustomed to me as I was to them. So yes.
Very different than your world here.
Oh.
Very, very different.
Very different. And like I said, you know, the other bigger cities are big metropolitan cities, but Xinjiang, which is where I was, you could drive down the street and it's just so different. Very, very rural. I mean, I come from the States, and seeing this little town was like almost shocking how it was.
Oh, wow. I'm just envisioning
Yes.
what it'd be like the weather, the language, everything.
Yes, very, very different. You know, a very exotic.
Were there any any English ladies there at the same time applying for the same job?
Well, what I came to find out, which I did not know any of this up front. I was just desperate to get out of Michigan, so I took it. But I did not know that CIAS International University has the largest foreign faculty than any university in China at that time.
I see.
This was in 2005. So, but there was a sharp contrast, again, from coming from the States, going to China. But then again, there was another sharp contrast, going from this little rural town to the campus. That was a big surprise.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, I know that we even looked at some of the pictures, and then one of the pictures was all about downtown.
Yes, the downtown area of Xinjiang is very rural. As I mentioned, the people there were as curious about me as I was about them, because it's an area that did not see very many Westerners. So when I did walk downtown, I'm 5'8" and blonde hair, I would be circled by people. Some would even want to, you know, touch
your hair.
And this was in 2005. So again, it wasn't that long ago, but it was before the Olympics. So there's a huge change.
That's right.
That happened after the Olympics on both ends of the cultural, you know, exchange. But prior to that, it was very rural, very, I don't want to say backwards, but just a lot different than here in the modern conveniences that we have here. And again, this is Xinjiang.
Okay, so obviously you don't go to a mall to shop.
No, they have a lot of markets outside. They have a lot of mom and pop stores that are just little shops in their buildings, and then they would live upstairs, or, you know, but a very rural kind of setting, even though this village town had 600,000 people.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so I see.
So.
Well, okay, you have you had all sorts of changes.
Yes.
So it was downtown, and then you saw the university. We had a picture of the university, the
Yes.
admin building.
The admin building was, I rode into the university and I thought, what is this place? It looked like the U.S. Capitol. The building is huge. It is beautiful. And as the bus turned in to go to our foreign faculty housing, we passed Italy Square, which is a huge plaza with buildings, and they were the student dorms, but they were buildings that looked like something out of Europe. So it was a very interesting experience.
But then you saw your classroom.
Yes. Well, that was, again, another extreme, because my classrooms, not being the technical classrooms, I taught oral English and business communications. So the classrooms were very barren. And but the students were just amazing. The students were so eager to learn, and so respectful, and just positive and excited. Yes, they were wonderful.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yes.
And let's see. So we had some pictures that would. I think that's really important when you have a change in your life.
Right.
And you had several changes. Boom, 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 just like that.
Yes.
And how it must have changed your psyche and your attitude and everything else.
Well, you know, as a teacher coming in, I was hired to teach these classes, and I was giving the additional business classes. So I kept a very professional demeanor on the outside and in my classes. But inside, I was a mess. Because, you know, just trying to transition through that life change. And I think it's a common thing, believe it or not, for baby boomers, you know, and the 50-year and on, to go through these life changes. It's not uncommon. As I speak to people, as I speak to audience, many, many women have been going through many things. Not many of them go to China to get through it, as I did. But a lot of women are going through these major life changes, whether through divorce or widowhood or losing a career.
Well, I understand that, but like I said earlier, it would take a tremendous amount of courage, I think.
Well, that was desperation, but I'll take courage. That was more desperation, but I like courage.
And I love your book, Chopsticks. I think it's just a wonderful book that you wrote. Healing My Heart in the Heart of China.
Yes. So this book is a collection of probably 50, 60 stories, either stories of people that I met, experiences that I had in the classroom, you know, traveling, you know, different things that I experienced while there. And at the end of these stories, I write a little summary of the lesson that it taught me. What did I learn from this?
That's a wonderful way.
How did this change my life? How did this help me on my journey? So this is a lot of stories that tell those life lessons. Each one of those stories was one more step towards my ultimate change and healing, and I'm still stepping. You know.
And you will the rest of your life. I think that people, we constantly change. Yeah. But Joanne Smith, wow. It shows on the back of your book.
Yes, a picture of me.
Michigan.
No, not quite Lake Michigan.
Oh, no.
That is Westlake in China, yes, during my travels there.
Yes, okay.
It's beautiful Westlake.
Wow.
Yes.
The name of your book being Chopsticks. I wonder if we can get a close-up of the beautiful gift here that you have. And this was the inspiration.
Well, it was a gift from the president and owner of the university.
Yes.
I gave him a copy of my book, and he absolutely loved it. So he presented this to me as a gift. It was wonderful to meet you so serendipitously, and I am delighted that you are producing these shows to help people. And I think what you're doing is fabulous, and you know, I love the fact that you are encouraging people to grow and help others. And we'll talk more about my experiences with the Women's Academy that I worked with.
So with your background of the homeschooling with your children?
I did homeschooling, yes.
So you had a lot of background, you had some skills developed, and you took that step
forward.
I did.
Yes.
Well, I congratulate you.
Well, thank you. And I live to tell the story. That's the good
absolutely.
part.
And you will motivate other people too.
Absolutely.
To step out.
And I think the motivation comes from, there are times in our lives when we face complete life changes. The world that we knew is gone. So what do? You don't crawl into a hole. You just step out and try something new. And that's what I did. I stepped out, and as well as your story, a wonderful story of success of your own, but you realize that these are opportunities to just grow in a new way. And at the time, I didn't feel it was an opportunity, nor was it an opportunity that I welcomed. But now that I've gone through it, I see what a gift it was.
But what you did was you actually took that lesson, that you opened that door, and then you created the solutions and the success in that, when you opened that door.
Right.
You did that.
Right.
So that's what you should be congratulated.
Well, thank you.
So, okay, well, we had some wonderful pictures of not only, you had a couple students that you kind of like adopted almost.
I think they adopted me first, and then I willingly adopted them. And my experience at CIAS would not have been what it was without Kitty and Allie. They were two charming, sweet, lovable girls that my first day there with my baggage, they came up to me, took my bags, led me to my room. They got me settled in, and every night for 3 weeks they would call me. Are you okay? Everything you need okay? And they were just the sweetest girls.
Isn't it?
And for my 2 years there, I could not have lived without them. So throughout my journey, they were a very important part of that. And they're Kitty and Allie.
Kitty and Allie. Oh,
Yes,
that's wonderful.
adorable girls.
That's wonderful. Now, also, you mentioned something about the food.
The food.
Tell us about the food.
Well, when you're coming from Michigan, and there are no Chinese restaurants in our little town, and you go to China, it is a big difference. It's a big difference. So that was one of the things, along with many of the other changes that I was just trying to accommodate. I didn't know the language. The food was sometimes very bizarre and different looking.
And you learned to cook?
And I didn't cook, but I learned to eat with chopsticks, which was very good for me.
And the reason is that where that comes from? The title of your book is Chopsticks.
Yes, it is Chopsticks. And the reason that I titled it Chopsticks, because with chopsticks, you pick up a very small portion and you take it in. It's not like you can fill up your spoon or fork. It's one bite at a time. And this journey of healing, the book is called Chopsticks, Healing My Heart in the Heart of China. Each moment of healing was in a very small step. It was very much like eating with chopsticks, one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And this book is a collection of stories, many, many stories, that reveals my journey. It talks about the people that I met, including Kitty and Allie. It talks about the food and the experiences I had inside classroom, outside of classroom, traveling. And at the end of many of those stories, I have the little section I call Chopsticks, because that's where the healing came in. That's where I reflected on that experience. And I said, wow, I learned this from that experience, or I learned that.
Another chapter in your book, and your chapter of your life.
Exactly.
And book.
Yes.
And so you also, I understand, created a museum?
Yes, because my first year I taught oral English, obviously, but I also taught business communications, a class called International Secretary, so I taught many different classes. The second year that I went back, I also did curriculum development for the university, so I designed 3 programs for incoming students, whether it be from Australia, Korea, Japan, the U.S., 3 programs. One was intensive language, the other was cultural, and history and traditional arts. So I created that program, and as you said, I also created a museum, a little on-campus museum, because Xinjiang, which is the town that I was in with CIAS, is in the heart of China. And again, that plays on the word healing my heart, in the heart of China. So Xinjiang, this little town where CIAS International is located, is in the heart of China, and there are a lot of relics, a lot of history there. And so we wanted to bring some of that history, some of those pieces, into a little on-campus museum for people when they come to visit, and for the students as well.
That's exciting. That is so exciting. And then you also then, when you talked about that, I think at one point you used the term meltdown.
Oh, yes.
That was maybe back to food, but
yes. Well, no.
I'm not sure what does meltdown really mean.
It means when you just get to the point and you just like, well, for me, I was in class and I was writing on the board. My back was to my students, and every day we started class with a sentence that would stimulate conversation. And this particular sentence says, who is the most influential person in your life? So as I'm writing the sentence, of course, I'm thinking of the answer that I would give as an example. And at that time, I thought, gosh, that was my husband. Because, you know, we had been married for 27 years. We met when I was 18, 19 years old. And at that point, up until that point, he had been the most influential person. And I just started crying. I mean, because here I was in China. My whole family was back home. You know, I'm divorced. I don't know what I'm doing. My kids are back home. And I start crying. So I run out of the classroom. And in China, my students are amazing. They're wonderful. But they don't miss a beat. And they saw me. They came out after me. When I got myself together, I went back in, and
I'm starting to start crying now.
Oh, it was traumatic. That's a meltdown. But the most important thing, and this is what I talk about, and this is kind of the experiences that I have. I stand there in front of my class, and I can't go on like nothing happened. So I told them, I said, you know, I'm sorry, but I am going through a very difficult time in my life. And I said, it hurts really bad because I left my family, my kids, my whole life. But I said, you know, if I didn't go through that, I would not be here with you right now. And this is such a gift to me, and I'm very happy to be here.
It's like you have a brand new family.
Yes.
A brand new family.
Yes.
And
they adopted me as much as I adopted them.
And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so it's so exciting to then see your two adopted daughters, you might say, graduate. You've seen their progress.
I walked through their last 2 years with them, and at the end of graduation, they wanted to. Their dream was to go to Shanghai and get jobs and live there. So I flew them out. They had never flown before, so I flew them out to Shanghai. I stayed with them. I made arrangements for them to live somewhere. We went to job fairs together. They looked very professional in their little outfits. I think I had those tailored for them as well. And we went out to the various job fairs, and both girls landed a job. They found an apartment, and they started graduation and their new life there. And they since have moved on, but that was a memorable moment for both of us.
But you certainly were their surrogate mother.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Now, I guess when, let me ask you a question that I think, to me, it's very important. How would you pass that courage on to other people, other women, men too, but to take such a, going through a traumatic experience and then takes it such a courageous step?
Well, you know, I think, Claire, the thing is that what are your choices? You can wallow and cry and whine, which I did plenty of, believe me. I had my pity parties. But then you can say, you know, I'm going to do something different. This is my opportunity to just, and be open to it. Be open to what presents itself. I was terrified to do this. You know, it's not like I wasn't. But courage only exists in the face of fear. You cannot have courage without an element of fear. And
that's
so
true.
when you
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
when you
true.
face fear, when you're feeling that fear, think courage.
Yes.
Whenever there's something fearful, think courage. Don't think
You know,
fear.
what amazes me is we are given this magnificent brain. And I'll share just briefly what I said to myself one point after the injury that I shared with you. And I got to a point where I told myself, I don't want to be this way the rest of my life.
Right.
And I had to change. And so all of a sudden the imagination kicks in and the brain starts working, and it's kind of like all of a sudden the gears start turning. And yeah, open the door, move forward.
And I think this is a message for men and women, but baby boomers, they're the largest population, you know, in America right now, and many of them are our age, and many of them are facing these challenges. So get out there. There is something beyond this trauma or this hardship you're going through, and it's wonderful.
Yes, I love the vision of literally just opening a door, step out, step in, and make your life change. But anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank
and
you.
I love your story. I think you're a delightful person.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that I met you.
Same here. Same here.
And I want to learn more and more and more about you, and as we will. But you have a literary fair here, I believe it is.
It will be in Los Gatos on August 23rd. It is a group of many of the local art authors. I will be among them. I will give a couple minutes talk. My book can be purchased there or online. I have a Kindle version as well.
All right, wonderful. And it's Chopsticks.
Chopsticks.
The name of your book is Chopsticks.
Yes. And I will be shortly coming out with another book called The CIAS Phenomena, because CIAS International University is an amazing place. There's no other place like it on earth that I know of. And so I write about the history of CIAS, how it came about, and that will be coming out shortly.
Okay, that sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you know, when I go home, I'm going to open that drawer and pull out the chopsticks.
There you go.
And I'm going to start eating one piece at a time.
That's what life is all about, moment by moment.
Yes,
Isn't that what you said?
That's right.
Moment by moment.
But Joanne Smith, thank you so much for a delightful interview. Thank you so much for writing a delightful book.
Thank you. It was
inspiring.
The worst of my life, but the best of it as well.
That's a great way of looking at it, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
So, let's see, would you venture off into another country, I wonder?
Well, Claire,
Portugal,
I haven't told you this yet, but since coming back from China, I went to India for a little while.
Oh.
That's a whole other story. But I did go there and work a little bit, and that was an amazing experience
We'll have
as well.
to do another show.
Oh, well, see, I'm full of surprises, aren't I?
Yes, you certainly are.
Yes.
So, but really, thank you so much. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining Colorful Journey of Success. Isn't she amazing? Who would have thought? Anyway, have fun in your life. If you have an idea for a show, please contact me. My name is Claire Mullen, producer and host. I'd love to hear your story and share it. Thank you so much again. Thank you for the crew, and thank you to everybody else. So bye for now.